a lot of these people think that, are you with law enforcement or affiliated in any way with law enforcement? No, why? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's an undercover sting. They can lie to you and say, no, it doesn't matter. And it's good that guys think that because they continue to fall in the trap, I suppose.
Yeah. Welcome to Out and About, everyone. It is Friday, April 19th, I think. April 19th. We're in Chicago as we speak. You're in the air off a 7 a.m. flight. No, you landed at 7 a.m. in Chicago. That's the craziest shit I've ever heard.
Yeah. The craziest thing I ever heard is I'm confused what day it is. where I'm supposed to be right now.
We're in Chicago.
I always get confused when we talk in the tense from after the future. We talk in the future. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, we're 7 just landed. Like I'm like.
That's tough for Nana to grasp.
It does because I don't have the inner monologue properly. Remember we talked about?
Yeah, you probably
I don't know how to figure that out.
Then
I get choked up. I'm like, wait, where am I? And then I'm trying to make something funny up, but like, what would happen? Like making a joke up, like, what would be funny if I was there? I'm like, oh, that flight, or like,
yeah.
It doesn't.
You're trying to go full method acting.
Yeah,
essentially
trying to really lean into it and think of like other situations I could have, like I asked her for peanuts.
I mean, in Chicago. I mean, there's a lot that could happen in Chicago. I mean, God forbid we say on the South Side.
Well, can we say we're going to Chicago because we are going to be part of a film festival?
Yes.
It's if you follow the Yak, it has they're doing this film festival idea where everyone splits into groups and 48 hours to make a movie, and then you have to go back the week later for the premiere. Of it, and
which sounds shockingly similar to something we tried to do in New York.
Yeah,
but here we are. They listed out our groups. They already listed the groups on the Yak, right?
I don't know. I think
watched. They did.
Did they?
I think we can say what the groups are, right?
Well, if we can't, we just cut it out.
Yeah, they did, right? There's four teams, 4 groups. My group is, so the way it works is you each pick a genre, I guess, and like so.
We can pick a genre or assign a genre.
So I guess we're like drafted a genre. We pick a genre, whatever. So we are paired up with people. You have a director. You have producers, and then you have people who are going to be on camera, people writing, doing all these things. We all create a film with our group based on the genre we're assigned, and then the following week we go back to the premiere. So the groups that they've assigned, we're into 4 different teams, and the teams are good. They're wild, they're fun. My team is Fasoli, Reed, Hank, Mad Dog, Nick Tarani, Brandon Walker, Ben Mintz, Chief, Connor Griffin. I think Connor Griffin is the guy with the red hair who looks like the woolly mammoth, and Jimmy John had a baby. That's who it is,
yeah, he's
right?
on Mostly Sports.
Yeah, he's on Mostly Sports. Myself, Nikki Smokes, Big T, and PMT Shane. I don't know if I've met PMT Shane
So I think a lot of
before.
these people, like, there's a few people I don't know on here, but I think it's their camera people or editors.
Yeah.
And things.
So this is your group. You want to read this one?
Yeah,
out?
I'm Owen. I know Owen. Harry, who's Harry?
Is Harry Little Sass? Harry's got to be
would
Little Sass, right?
Okay, good. So I'm with Harry Little Sass. Zupe. I don't know Zupe.
You know him, Kevin
I
Zuppe.
think Owen, Harry, and Zuppe are probably producers. I don't think that's Little Sass. I think Little Sass would say Little Sass.
Who's Zupe?
Zuppe,
You know Kevin
producer.
Zuppe.
What's he look
He's
like?
a producer.
You know
Okay.
him. Yeah,
Liam Bluntman. I don't know him.
Yep.
Do you know him?
He's new.
He's new. I know
What is
who
he?
that
Is he? Is he?
I have no idea.
He does something. KB. I know KB.
He does something. Yep. KB does
Kyle,
something.
Joey Camasta, White Sox Dave. I know. Max is the one that looks like the late
Yep.
Greer.
Sorry,
I
I need a sip of my tea.
Judy Greer.
Judy Greer.
Who's
you know,
Greer?
You know Greer upstairs. He looks like an 80s rocker. Greer.
I have
You
to
know
see
Greer.
him. Rudy
Data guy
Junda.
Greer. Yep.
PMT memes. I don't know who that is.
Caroline and EBO.
Ebo.
Oh.
He's got a fat ass.
Okay. You got a good team. I mean, these are all... Oh, Jake, remember Jake Malasek? We have Mikey Pavs, Lance, Cody, Jake Malasek, Titus, Tommy, Jersey Jerry, Che, Jake Marsh, Mook. You know, Mook sounds more Asian than Che, I think.
I'm not touching that.
White boy Rick, Za, Donnie, and Chaps.
That's the hottest team I would have to say.
You think?
Well, it has Jake Malasek and Donnie and
And keep in mind, that's not Chef Donnie.
It's not.
That's the Wonton Don.
Even so, Smash 2. And Tommy Smokes.
Yeah, it's a great
the
looking-
hottest
great
guy.
looking.
And Mikey Pavs.
Oh, and they got Jake Malasek.
And Mikey Pavs.
Who else do we have? We have Tom Lake, Colton, Ryan. See, this is a team.
I don't know anyone on this.
Kate. I can't wait to see Kate. I love Kate. Frank the Tank, Ohio's Taint, Chef Donnie Spider. So the other one was the Wonton. Chef Donnie Spider, Mega Making Money, Mackenzie, Eddie. Did they put all the ladies on one team?
All the ladies
others
pop
have
you
any
up
ladies.
like this. No, Caroline Bano. She's not technically a lady.
Right.
Yet. She's on my team.
She's still getting her gender markers changed. On her
We're
birth
talking in the
certificate.
group chat. Do you have a group chat yet popping up
Yeah.
for your team?
What's yours called?
Greer.
Your group chat is called Greer.
Yeah.
My group chat is called it. Fasoli kicked it off. Fasoli's taking the bull by the horns. He called it Film Fest G1.
Team Greer and Caroline Banos, and I quote said, "I hope there's a sex scene between me and Joey."
Oh.
I would love to have a sex scene with Caroline.
Oh, God.
Have you ever filmed? I mean, at least it's gonna be like a real film.
Do you know Smitty used to be a gay porn editor in Philadelphia?
What?
Yep. Back in the day, Smitty used to like
So
sell
he couldn't keep his
pasta.
erections under control.
He couldn't keep his erection under control. And so now he's
Smitty
doing
from
whatever
here?
he does. Yeah, Smitty from here. Big
He's
Philly
hot.
guy. Who don't you think is hot?
What's his name?
Vincent?
Vinny.
Vincenz?
I'm only kidding. I don't think.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one. We go through and pick out people we think are ugly.
What is
on
Boy
the
Kills
teams.
World?
That's
What is
a
Boy
wild-
Kills World? Is that in a film?
I don't know. I don't know what Boy Clothes World is. I don't know where you're reading
Kills
that.
World.
It's a movie. It's like to promote the movie, I think.
Boys. Oh yeah, it's Boys Kills World, the movie. Yeah, that's the thing we're doing. That's our sponsor, our presenting sponsor.
I have found some shocking news recently.
What happened?
Well, I don't know. I know I googled it, so to make me feel a little bit better. That muscle weighs more than fat, but apparently I'm fatter now than I've ever been before I started going with a
No
trainer.
way.
I gained 30 pounds.
What do
since
you
I
weigh?
started
You
going
can
with a
bleep
trainer.
it.
I'm not saying what I weigh, but it's 30 pounds than I thought I was.
Wait, so you're bigger now than you've ever been? That can't be.
No, not that I've ever been. No, I'm bigger now than I was before I started the gym.
I don't notice any difference.
My clothes, I can't fit in any of my clothes.
What is it though?
I'm just a disgusting pig. Thank God I got my semaglutide back. I got my summer body back.
What is that?
I'm going back on my,
Ozempics? Oh yeah.
what's this, my shots. I'm starting that back. It's actually being delivered to the front desk today.
So you lost 30 and then you gained 30 back?
Yeah.
Do you want me to shoot you up? Is it refrigerated? It's the same thing, like twice a week?
It's different. I have to draw it up like the test.
Oh.
And shoot in my stomach.
I'd be happy to help you.
Sperling Dermatology is offering it now.
Shout out Sperling Dermatology.
Yes, they're showing their body program. I am the
You're the
ingenue.
pilot. You're the guinea pig.
I'm not the guinea pig. No,
Yeah.
they've done it before, but I am the face of their semaglutide program. I had a big photo shoot this Friday with Christine and the girls.
So what is semaglutide?
It's the compound that triggers your brain into thinking that you're full.
So it's like they're pulling out like the active ingredient essentially in Ozempic, and it's like
It's the same thing.
It's the same
It's like
thing.
Viagra. It's like that's just name brands of the drug. The drug is semaglutide, but the Ozempic and Wegovy and all the other things are just brand names.
Got it. I went to Sperling for my first ever facial. I don't know if I talked about that. Well, facial kind
And
of.
Nicole?
First ever facial. With Nicole was unbelievable. It
Well,
was
tell
very,
me
very
what you
good.
liked about it.
The hydrofacial. I've never had my face really massaged or like touched, and I was like glowing after they put the laser mask on you, like all this stuff. I still do need to fix my hair though. I got a dermatologist to get me Propecia, so I'm gonna start doing that. But it's
Well,
gonna
you know,
fuck up my
they're
boners. That's the only thing.
No,
Propecia
also,
screws
you
out
know,
your
when
boners.
Propecia is like the Cinderella of hair treatments.
What do you mean?
At midnight, it goes away. If you stop using it,
I know.
it goes. Everything gets taken right back from you.
But I feel like I would use
Same
it.
thing with Latisse. And
Would you use it? You said you hated your hair.
I'm scared to use it.
Why,
I'm
though?
afraid my dick's gonna fall off.
Well, I think it just fucks up
What
your
does it do
boners.
with your dick?
But said it didn't fuck his boners up at all.
Some people they're fine.
Well,
some
he's
people
he's
not.
100% testosterone.
Who, Vinny?
No.
Well, Vinny like works out like crazy.
No, I'm saying both. I guess both of them. But
Yeah.
I've heard mixed things. Some people are fine. Some people have issues on it.
I heard a thing about on the Yak. Will Compton was talking about he's on this like peptide, like all this stuff to like help boost his T because his T levels were low. And he said the first sign that your T levels are low is when you stop waking up with morning wood, and that's like the wake up of why you have whatever. So now every morning I've been waking up, I'm like, oh, is my dick hard enough? I'm gonna have low T.
well, I have a chastity cage that I wear at night, so I can't.
Do you guys know what that is? A chastity cage? Have you heard of it? Do not Google that.
Google it.
Google. All right, go ahead, throw it up.
You gotta educate the youth.
Educate the youth. Myself.
It's when you've been a bad boy, and Daddy said you can't
Ew,
come yet.
Joe,
Daddy
don't
says
say.
Daddy says you can't come, so you put your
What
you,
the
you
fuck
put
is
your
that?
cock in a cage.
So people wear these to the point where your dick actually shrinks.
Yeah.
Like it literally becomes like a fucking thumb.
you allow do
What
not
is
allow
the point of it?
you don't allow yourself. Daddy has said you're not allowed to have an erection.
Joey,
Nah,
dude,
stop
That's
saying
what it
that way.
says.
don't say daddy
Yeah, I
said
don't
you're,
like that.
I don't like
you're
that
not
either.
allowed to have
Well,
an
hold on,
erection.
those
I'm gonna
cage, you
puke.
can't lock your own dick up.
Yeah, you can.
Your master has to
Do you-
lock it
if
up.
you have two.
Diego, you know this very well.
Yeah. Well, the fuck. Whenever Diego's laugh goes high, I realize the age. The I wish I could say.
Who
that-
else is putting your cock in a cage?
Well, Daddy has to put their cock in the cage. I wish I could tell you that I didn't know exactly what you're talking about. I wish I could say I haven't seen those porns before. I've thought about locking her down. How great would that be if you just didn't have a dick? Think about how much of your mental headspace is taken up by your dick every day.
None of mine.
Mine isn't really.
I don't think about it at all.
You don't think about your dick every day.
No,
You're not
no.
like some tiny level of like horniness or
I
like
wish I didn't
something. Or
have
this
it.
person's hot or that person's
I'm
hot.
a
My balls
perfect
are on my
level of
leg.
horny.
I think I'm like a perfect.
I'm a
level.
healthy level of horny.
Really? Maybe it's just us.
I'm never horny.
That's why I don't want to take Propecia because I don't want to mess with it, just in case.
But it shrinks your balls too. Propecia, right?
I don't think it does that.
That's the Clomid that you're on. Clomid will help increase your balls.
Well, it increases the sperm in my testicles.
Oh, you know what I watched for the first time last night? Speaking of tiny balls, Fight Club. I've never seen it my entire life. I watched it last night, and one of the guys there was on some fucking thing that shrunk his balls and gave him tits.
What?
I'm all over. Don't get me nervous now. It's like I've seen the tits.
Your
I've
tits,
been
your
through
tits
enough.
your tits aren't coming back though. You had them fucking taken off.
I know, but that now it's like, why can't God just put me in my right body? It's like, you know, how lucky you are, Vinny, that you're just born in the right body. I was
how much
born with
privilege you have?
breasts. I'm female inside.
Yep.
Technically male on the outside.
Talk
Depending
about
on
it.
what wig I'm wearing, but it's like, I still don't. I wake up every day with not knowing who I am. Like I'm like a mess.
Point of privilege for you, gentlemen, when you talk about your
Yeah.
gender. That's my favorite
Can you
photo
imagine
ever.
just waking up without having to bind or to
Without
tuck,
having to
tuck or bind?
Did you buy those tucking panties? We found some tucking panties. You know the girl from Euphoria, the blonde girl who gets
Hunter Schafer, the hottest.
Hunter Schafer, who
woman
gets banged
around.
out by the dad on
Oh
Euphoria.
yeah.
That scene was rough.
Yeah, that was brutal.
That was like I tried watching Euphoria and I was like, I don't know if this is for me.
You wouldn't get fucked by him if you were in high school? That
By
hot
the
dad?
fucking
By the-
by my friend's dad.
Hot dad?
No, absolutely not. I would
Okay,
be
you're a sicko.
I would be.
Is she trans in real life?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
that was
but-
like the most uncomfortable scene though. The way they was so graphic.
He like, ugh, it was like a lot.
yeah.
And I did watch it.
Yeah, I did
but-
watch it too.
Anyway, so she has a thing called tuck. It's a tucking tape.
You look up Hunter Schafer, type in tucking.
It's under
panty.
clockable.
Joey.
It is clockable
So
tape.
I've always wondered how you actually tuck, and she has a tucking to not Pig News. She has a tucking tutorial.
Unclockable.
Pig News wrote a hit piece on me
Here
back
she
in the
is.
day.
So the company's called Unclockable, and they're doing essentially it's like a tuck kit. And she's a high fashion model, so she's wearing these couture dresses on the runway and all the
But I
places
didn't-
she is. So this is just a nice like a panty tape, so she don't have to wear like a panty. It's like a stick-on tucking panty.
If you go to the website, Vinny, there's step by step, and it was really fascinating. I didn't know you put your dick up and your balls back,
No, you put your balls up and your dick back.
but not according to that.
Yeah,
Go to
it's
the-
on her.
You
If
put
you
your
go to the
balls in the
thing, Vinny-
cavity. I tucked for many years.
This is
Yeah.
the top 10 things she needs to have with her at all times was tucking tape.
Well, yeah,
I
when
think
she's on a
it's click
fashion
here
shoot,
to
yeah.
see. Go down a little.
She has a penis still,
Click
so
here to
she
see what
has
girl-
to tuck it when she's wearing those dresses.
That makes sense.
There's
I
a-
just definitely won't be able to play this. So that's
Oh no, there's like a diagram.
Oh, there's no penis
photos.
or shows. There's nothing.
no, but I'm saying just because it's GQ, so it'll get taken down.
Oh, all right. Yeah, but no, I didn't know you put. She was showing it so like you basically like tape your empty sack back.
No, your sack. No, with the sack, what happens is you know when you get cold and your balls shrivel up into your body.
So, yeah.
That's you just put them back. There's two little cavities, two little holes there that your balls go up, and every time you get cold, that's where they go.
But that would hurt.
No, it won't. That's
to
what
walk around with them up.
Well, they're up when you're cold, so it's like the same thing. You're just taping them up. So you put them, you pop them back up into the thing, and then you pull your dick between them like this, and you take your head of your dick from behind, pull it up to your asshole, and then you tape it back up to your back.
Diego's taking notes.
I zoned out, to be honest.
I wanted to do
Okay.
a tucking tutorial here if we can. I think the great way to do it is we have we build like a little box, a cardboard box, and we stand behind it so you're not seeing what's happening, but you will turn around for the reveal and you'll be wearing a lady swimsuit and you'll see how smooth it is. I think we should see who can get the smoothest tuck.
I'll be the one behind the camera producing it. I will not participate.
I know, I'm saying, well,
I'll be the one behind the wall
Would
making
you-
sure no one cheats.
who's going to have a meteor tuck, me or you?
You're gonna come on. You're gonna have a meteor talk. Actually,
No.
no, because you have the experience.
Do you think-
I
do
would
you-
probably have a meteor
Who
talk.
do you think can out tuck me in the room?
In the room right now? No.
I think she would be smooth like a.
No.
You don't think?
Oh no.
You don't think she would have a
Joey,
smooth,
no, you've been
tight
talking
little
since he was a glint
Yeah,
in his
but-
father's eye.
But she's
There's no way.
she's the only one with a thigh gap, though.
That's facts. That's facts.
How many fingers are between your thigh gap? Is it at least
I
3?
don't like what? What
A
are you?
thigh gap.
A
What
thigh
is a
gap.
thigh gap?
You know what a thigh gap is?
You're
It's
the
what,
only-
it's what you scream at your girlfriend as she's throwing up into the toilet. Have the thigh gap.
You have to put your fingers. In high school, the girls used to bully each other. If you couldn't have 3 fingers in between your thigh gap, you were considered like fat thighed.
It's a gap in between your thighs. No one could out tuck you here. Maybe the I mean, if Enrique was here, he would give you a run for your money, I'm sure.
Kelly Keeks could probably out-tuck me.
Keeks could out-tuck you.
She's always wearing those little skirts. I wonder if she has tuck tape at her a tuck kit at her
A
desk.
meaty tuck? A meaty moose knuckle tuck?
Oh! It's Friday. Everyone, you know what it is. The grand finale of RuPaul's Drag Race season 16. Who's going to win it? It's going to be Nymphia Wind, Plain Jane, or Safira Crystal. I'm Team Nymphia Wind.
Say that again?
I'm going there tonight. I will be at the live event where they'll be crowning the queen. But yeah, tune in to MTV tonight at 8 p.m. to see who snatches the crown. Are you Team Nymphia?
So hold on. What are the
Plain
names?
Jane or Team Safira Crystal?
Safira Crystal, Nymphia, and Plain Jane?
Nymphia Wind and Plain Jane.
Nymphia win?
Yeah, that's who I want to win.
Why?
She's just is the best style. If you could pull up Drag Race Instagram, if you don't mind. She's had the best style. She's the most humble. If she doesn't win, and it's unfortunately she's not able to win Miss Congeniality because she is and she's in the finale. She's a finalist, but
Remember when we went to Vegas Fat? Our sweet Gia was filming us. That started going re-viral.
there's Nymphia Wind
randomly.
right there. Press the red button. The red girl. This is who I want to win. Just look at the looks.
What the fuck?
High drag.
This is art. This is art. This is realism. She's serving.
Look at the body. Good Lord.
I mean, look at this look. Snatched.
The whip.
The level of detail, just her. She's been a humble queen. Her style is
That's
fabulous.
wild.
What she would do with the ties.
They
That's her
make all
pussy.
their own costumes, right?
She does. She's a seamstress by trade.
Is that her to the right?
That's her to the right. That's Nymphia Wind.
Untucked? That's when she's untucked?
That's she's untucked there. Then we have Safira Crystal is right next to her.
Oh my God. I can't.
So I'm team Nymphia, but Plain Jane's the villain of the season. I can't stand her because she bullied a mandatory meeting. And
What'd she do to bully her?
She was just a mean, nasty cunt
She read
to
her down?
It wasn't even reads. It was just insecurities, and I can't stand Plain Jane. I know she'll probably see this, and I'm gonna have to hang out with her and meet her on Friday. But I just didn't like it. I had an icky taste in my mouth. When you see someone like bully someone else, it's like I have an icky taste in my mouth. I can never get over it. As much as they say it was like funny or just trying to be like throw shade, it was mean spirited, and I didn't like it.
There's truth in everything.
Yeah.
There's always truth, even in the jokes.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Geneva Carr.
And I believe, we have an Elephant Queen on season
What the-
16 as well.
Hershey.
Oh my God.
Hershey Jacor Lequay. Hershey Lequor Lequay.
I mean, my favorite ever is obviously Lux Noir London.
I know.
Michelle Baby Doll Fox. Do you see? You know, someone sent me something. Vinny, you remember the Man Mafia Facebook group?
Yes.
You know, someone had a very detailed sex stream about me on the Man Mafia Facebook group.
What did they say?
Erotica, if you want to pull it up. You were in it
How
as
is
well.
he going to know how to get there?
Huh?
How is he going to know how to get there?
It's a Man Mafia Facebook group.
Oh, right there. Man Mafia. Click on that. On top of that pink post right there.
Keep going. Okay, there it is.
So one of these cunts on this thing goes, they're showing my living room
Oh, wait,
off.
no, keep going.
And one of these bitches says, I don't like that coffee table. It's way too low for that couch.
Oh, about your coffee
So I
table?
blocked her.
Maybe mine show up like
Yeah, I
out of
did see
order.
that.
Right here. Look, here.
Oh, here we go.
That picture, it says it.
His apartment.
Wait, where's the hater? Call her out by
Go to
name.
comments.
I mean, the coffee table is very low.
I don't like the height of the coffee table.
She cut
What
deep.
was her name?
Whoever it was cut deep. Ellie. Shout out, baby.
Trying to come for mama.
God, I wonder where it is. Is this it? I can't believe I'm about to say this. Oh, I had a sex dream with Trish.
Word for word. I'll read it.
You go ahead. Yeah.
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I had a sex dream with Trish. I'm a straight female who is very much aware that he's gay, so what the fuck? For those who want more detail, Joey and Trish and I were drinking at a house party,
Okay.
which can happen.
Yep.
I'm not much of a drinker, so I got drunk real fast. We lost Joey at some
That's
point.
the-
Classic.
classic.
I think this happened.
So
This is real?
This actually happened? So Trish and I were just hanging out. He puts a finger in my mouth, kind of seductively, also
Yeah.
drunkenly. Cut to it. He's taking me from behind in the backyard
This
bushes.
is intense.
It's not good. It seems like a job for both. It seems like a job to both of us. That's
It's
when
not
Joey
good.
finds us, and we're both embarrassed. And Joey thinks it's funny. Cut to the next morning. I'm so hungover, but I need to drive Joey and Trish to their homes. And so it's awkward. So it's not that awkward with Trish. More likely, a drunken story we'll laugh about later. But I did find out that he didn't wear a condom, and I'm worried about STI since he's worried about knocking me up.
Jenna, we can make this happen. Jenna, What a wild thing.
Last time you had sex with a woman, did you not use a condom?
I don't even know. It's been so long ago. That was like 3 eclipses ago. Speaking of having sex, Chris Hansen is in the studio today. You may remember Chris Hansen from To Catch a Predator, Dateline, a bunch of other big stories that he's done, but mainly To Catch a Predator. He's here promoting his new show called Takedown on True Blue. He was very good. I liked him a lot. I thought it was a great conversation.
He's been in the industry for many moons. He's been a journalist his whole life, and he just gets it. He's an American, as a household name, American icon.
He is an American icon. Some of the guys here were fangirling over him, fanboying over him big time. I think
Sam Martin was.
Owen was, Nate.
Yeah, I'm pissed that I wasn't here. I wanted to see him.
But surprisingly, Meek Phil went to hiding when Chris showed up.
It was so funny. They all walked in, and he was like, "Have a seat." And he goes to Owen. He goes, "I think I recognize you from a kitchen in Cincinnati." And Owen was
one question I didn't get to ask him, but I think I know the answer to it.
Yeah.
It was which state has the most concentration of these predators, and I'm assuming it's Florida.
You think? I
Or
think
where
it's somewhere
they're-
deep south Florida. It's
Deep
got to
south?
be it's got to be Florida probably. Maybe like Alabama. We talked a lot about.
Yeah, I don't want to
Alabama.
play that Florida. Florida's definitely more of a meth.
Nevada seems like it could be up there.
Reno,
Nevada. Reno 911.
yes, desert, Arizona, maybe somewhere in the desert. where
Yeah,
not a
like
lot
New
going
Mexico.
on.
I'm sure New Mexico is popping. It was great. So we're gonna get to our interview with Chris Hansen now. We love you all. Go to nowshewilltour.com, and we will see you on Tuesday.
This episode is brought to you by Body Armor Zero Sugar. The brand new Zero Sugar sports drink from our friends at Body Armor provides real hydration with no artificial sweeteners, flavors, or dyes.
Whether you're looking to stay hydrated or recovering from a long weekend, Body Armor Zero Sugar has got you covered with great tasting flavors like fruit, punch, and lemon lime. Let me tell you something. If you're out drinking, if you're out boozing, if you're tired, if you feel dehydrated, there is nothing that will make you feel better, more better than Body Armor Zero Sugar.
Yes, they're a huge partner here at Barstool. Every fridge is completely stocked. This is the cherry lime. It's ice cold, keeps you hydrated all day, and I couldn't be happier.
Body Armor Zero Sugar is available nationwide. Get yours today at Walmart or at a local grocery store near you. All right, we are here with the legendary Chris Hansen.
Well, thanks, guys, for having me. Appreciate
Chris,
it.
what was your
course.
intention with us today?
I just came here for some cookies and some tea. And I just wanted to talk to the hosts.
yeah,
I just wanted
to talk.
but
Yeah.
what, you did have a double-ended dong in your handbag.
Well, you weren't supposed to see that.
Okay.
right behind the mics are
Is that what that is? Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Well, thank you for having me.
20 years ago, you said 20 years ago this
20
month
years ago,
was the first
last
episode of To
month
Catch
in
Predator.
March, we shot the very first Predator investigation
Yep.
in Bethpage, Long Island. And, we didn't know what was going to happen. I mean, literally, I got stuck in traffic driving out to the Sting House. And I'm thinking, what if I've just wasted tens of thousands of dollars of the network's money? What if nobody shows up? And with that, my producer's on the phone saying, where the hell are you? 2 guys are doing 45 minutes. Get here. And,
Two guys, you had them
and in
lined
the
up.
course of 2.5 days, in that first investigation, 17 men surfaced, including a New York City firefighter. So it was mind-boggling that this all happened.
As producers, how are you connecting with these guys? Is it through a popular app or a popular website,
There are
or is
multiple-
it your own platform that you guys make and find people?
It's all of that, right?
Yeah.
So in the beginning, 20 years ago, we had chat rooms on AOL and Yahoo,
Yeah.
a little bit of MySpace. Now, there's been an explosion in the number of social media platforms upon which adults can
Right.
approach kids. So from all the dating apps to, just the common things like
Truth
Reddit.
Social.
Yeah.
It's a big one. Christian Mingle.
Yeah, you never know.
Farmers Meat.
Farmers Meet.
Farmers Meat is a good one, yeah. But it's everywhere. It's ubiquitous. So while it is more difficult to bust these guys, if you will, there's more activity than ever before.
Yeah.
What's the process like to what Joey said, for finding them? Obviously, you're on apps and this and that. And so do you have multiple people working for you, trying to get multiple people to take the bait?
Exactly.
And then you try and line, so you have this Sting House and you try and line up 5 or 6 people at once. And then that's 5 or 6 episodes you can just bang out? Or
Pretty
how's it
much,
go?
yeah. So we work with law enforcement. Now, in the beginning, We just did this with an online watchdog group called Perverted Justice, and they supplied the decoys. They were very good at it. They had a website where they exposed these guys. I figured at the time if we could combine that with our ability to wire a house with hidden cameras and microphones, it could be compelling. It was. Yeah. But then we had to work with law enforcement because it was the only socially responsible way to proceed. Because in the first 2 investigations, law enforcement made some of these cases down the road, but some of these guys were just in the wind. They, whistled off into the sunset.
Right.
And that was socially responsible to work with law enforcement. And from a television production standpoint, it was unfulfilling for the viewer. It's like, wait a minute. Why isn't this guy going to get punished for what was clearly horrific criminal behavior?
Yeah.
So from the 3rd investigation on and continuing until today, we work with law enforcement. We collaborate. And now Perverted Justice is no longer on the scene. They've gone on to do other things. And so we use decoys, chatters who are with law enforcement.
Are the decoys you're using now? I heard rumors. Are they are all of age though?
Oh yeah,
because they're not.
They're all of age. Yeah,
they're just like young people. Exactly. No, I think if it was just as a voice actress, I could probably pass for a 13-year-old girl as my voice. So if I was behind a curtain.
Yeah, or if you need someone on the phone, maybe if someone's saying, "Hey, I want to hear your voice." Joey could be that guy
because we do have the phone call. So there is typically a chat online, and that will move to text pretty quickly, and then there's a phone conversation, proof of life, and then, more often than not, the guy shows up, and we just saw it last week on a sting in Alabama, about 45 minutes outside of Birmingham.
Wow. Are the decoys actors and actresses?
No, the decoys actually work for law enforcement. So typically it's a deputy or a police officer, detective who has experience, who's had training.
So the decoys, the person posing as the underage person is actually law enforcement.
Exactly. And what that does for us is it creates a very clean chain of custody for the eventual prosecution. A few times when Perverted Justice was doing the chats, there were some questions raised about chain of custody, the chats, who had what. Virtually all those guys got convicted. It wasn't a legitimate issue, but it was an issue. So now we have law enforcement do it, and so the chats are always in law enforcement custody. Obviously, I see them, so I can question the guy, and I have a sense of it because I'm right there as it happens. Yeah. But it's an easier prosecution. It's just the DAs like it better that way.
Is there like a, I don't want to use the word like casting, but like if law enforcement is talking to these people and there's like 4 or 5 people and they're in their head, are they like, all right, this guy is most likely to play the best on camera, like be the biggest creep, we should go after him? Or is there a point it's like you're talking to 5 people, they all are kind of into it.
We can't control who shows up. Right. In the last sting, the guys ranged in age from 70 to 22. So we had a guy who was, in fact, the episode that drops, any minute is a guy who is 70, who is semi-retired, married, 40 years, adult children.
Oh my God.
Worked as a car salesman, at a Toyota dealership. And here he is in the afternoon, on a Wednesday outside of Birmingham, Alabama, trying to hook up with a teenage girl for sex.
What is the percentage of straight, presenting married men that are going after young boys and like gay things? So is there a lot? Did you see a lot of that?
We see some of that. Overwhelmingly, the profile that we see is white heterosexual males. We do see men going after boys. That happens, but it's in proportion. It's mostly, and again, it's not scientific because we don't necessarily. We have male decoys going on certain chat sites and we have, female decoys on others. And so it's hard to say this is the exact population of offenders. But in our experience, that's basically how it works.
Do you ever have any women offenders?
Yeah. We have not. And the psychiatrists, the therapists, the shrinks, the law enforcement experts we talk to say it's because the female predator doesn't like the anonymity. You're more likely to see that in the teacher-student scenario, which we've been bombarded with.
I mean, have you guys noticed it? There's a movie with Julianne Moore, May December. It's called.
How was that?
It was a fabulous film, but I think it was a true story. Was that the story of?
Yeah, it was based on the Mary Kay Letourneau, loosely based on Mary Kay Letourneau. Yeah, but we have seen, and so much so that at True Blue, my streaming crime network, we're keeping a log of all these cases. We've done some stories on True Blue, on True Crime Nation, our show, one of our shows there, on the topic. But I have never seen in my entire career more cases of female teachers and teachers' aides involving themselves sexually with underage male students. It seems like there's one a week.
We had a guy here. You want to pull up Jerry's blog here? We have a guy here, Jerry Thornton, who was who's a blogger for years. He had a series that he would do, and it was called Grading the Newest Teacher Sex Scandal Thing. And it was, grading them on all these different criteria. But he said the same thing. He said there was so many of these. I think if you type it into the search bar,
I mean, he just looks guilty.
Type in teacher sex scandal. There, he said it was. We're like, do you ever run out? He goes, we were overwhelmed with the number of these things happening, teacher, student, all across the country. They might have deleted them when we got bought by Penn, but it was It was crazy. Yeah, grading the newest.
I think it's as horrible and sick as it is. I think especially with women, it's all. It's a psychological. They're fucked up in the head.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's either they're trying to recreate a very pleasant sexual experience in their history, or they're chasing down something that they wish they had at that age.
Right.
That's what the therapist tells.
And it's always in schools. It's always like teachers.
Yeah.
What
And
do you mean they're
and
chasing down something
like they didn't get sex when they were in the developing years of 14, 15, 16, 17. So now they're chasing this
They peaked after high
fantasy
school,
that
and
they had.
they're seeing these cousins.
And again,
Oh.
I'm parroting what therapists tell
Yeah.
us. I'm not studied in that field, but it makes sense to me that it's either that or they're trying to recreate a moment in time that was very, entertaining or very sexually exciting to them. And I think there's a power play there. I mean, obviously, the adult has the power over the child. And we see that in all the scenarios. We see that in our investigations. We see that in the teacher-student investigations. We see it in that new documentary they have out, Quiet on the Set.
Did you watch it?
I haven't seen the whole thing, but I've seen part of it. I'm going to watch the rest. I think it's very, very good. It's very compelling. I think Drake Bell was very brave
I agree.
to speak out and talk about that, because I think so many people have not. And, we get asked all the time, go after the Hollywood, sex scandals and do that. Well, we do that when we can put that case together. We did it with Onision, who was a YouTube sensation, who was allegedly exploiting, young women fans. And we did it with Peter Nygaard, who was exploiting young women. We did that big series on Discovery Plus. And we do some of these stories today, but they're all encompassing. So the fact that these directors, these producers took on this topic is very commendable, because it takes 2 years out of your life to do something like that.
Right.
And they had to convince people like Drake Bell to speak out.
Do you have people reaching out to you, survivors of this, and just thanking you for what you're doing in the work?
Virtually every day, every week. And one of the most rewarding things to me is that the true heroes in all this, the survivors, get some closure, some gratification from it in a healthy way. I mean, a week doesn't go by that, I'm out about, or my wife and I are out to dinner and somebody comes up and says, hey, can I talk to you guys for a minute? And sure, of course. And they tell the story about this happened to them as a child.
Oh my God.
And every time I watch you bust one of these guys, it gives me some control over my life and some power back.
You're a modern day Mother Teresa.
I wouldn't go that far. I mean,
way.
I think we hit on something that, is very important and obviously has not gone away. If you had asked me 20 years ago if we'd still be doing this, I'd say, no, and obviously we do other stories and other investigations.
Right?
I
We're
was,
gonna run out of creeps in a week.
I was surprised that we pulled off the first one, but it never ends. And I liken it a little bit to the heroin problem, or to an addiction. The heroin addict will continue to buy heroin, even though they know there's a 20% chance there's fentanyl in the heroin that could kill them. The guy who wants to have sex with a child, boy or girl, needs to fulfill this fantasy. And he knows there's a 20% chance it's Chris Hansen or Sheriff so-and-so, but they do it anyway.
Yeah.
You don't know how many times a guy has walked in and before I can speak, he says, "Oh, you're Chris Hansen. This is pretty cool." I said, "It ain't gonna be cool for long, son. You got a lot of questions to answer here, and you got trouble after I'm done."
I've seen the ones where sorry, John. I've seen the ones where you walk out and they just go, "Oh shit."
Yeah,
they know it's you.
This
right
guy
away.
I was talking about, the next episode on True Blue on Takedown, the guy comes in and, he's 70 and he tries to run and he's stopped and he goes back in the chair and I start talking to him and he says, my eyes are watery, can you help me out? And so I get a paper towel, I dab his eyes, it's I'm going to talk to the guy. What he did was horrible.
Yeah.
What he was trying to do is horrible. And it's probably not his first time.
Right.
But then we get talking. I said, well, there's something you need to know. He goes, oh, I know. I've seen all the shows. And then he comes over with handcuffs on to shake my hand and thank me for all my work. And here's a guy who's not only going to jail, he's got to explain to his wife of 40-some years what he was doing after work, driving over to a house to try to meet a teenage girl for sex.
Why do they talk to you think? You would think that after they get arrested or after they get caught, they'd be like, let me cover my face and run
Some
out.
do
These
that.
guys sit down and
Some
talk.
do that, but I think it's a combination of things. I think some think they can talk their way out of it.
Right.
They have this excuse already in their head. I just came here to check this out. I was worried she was in danger, or I was doing my own investigation. And to which I say, well, you can call 911.
Yeah.
A couple questions about production. Do you ever get nervous before curtain, before you have to perform?
Oh,
before
always,
you
yeah.
would go out?
Absolutely. Still do every time. Every time. Because you're working. I mean, I'm safe, or it's as safe as it can be for something that is edgy. Look, part of the reason why so many people watch this, why it's so compelling, is that it is edgy. And it is unpredictable. And you don't know everything about this guy. You try to.
Do you not
look
know
at
if they're
criminal
armed
histories.
or not? They could be armed.
If we have suspicion they're armed, law enforcement will take them into custody before I talk to them. That's just protocol. But sometimes you don't know. We had a case a couple months ago where a guy sets a leather pouch down on the kitchen counter. We have the conversation. It wraps up. And as he's being arrested, he says, oh, by the way, there's a gun in that pouch. So there's a loaded gun sitting there the whole time. Now, it was in a state. It was in Alabama, right? Yeah. And so there's a law that says you can carry a concealed weapon without a permit if you don't have a criminal history. So he had his gun that he brought with for his own protection. Now, switch that around. What happens if we're not there and there is a girl there that doesn't go his way, or, is there danger there? Well, maybe. But, suddenly he says this and the sheriff's deputies from, Blount County, Alabama swoop in and they grab the gun and they're unloading it over the sink,
Yeah. So when they get there, they're walking in blindly and they haven't been apprehended at all when they walk in the house for the first time.
It depends on where we're working. Some jurisdictions that have a, multi-agency task force, they want to take custody of the guy first, and then I interview them.
And then I
talk to them, which works both ways.
Yeah.
Sometimes he tells detectives to pound sand, and then he'll blab to me. He'll be a fanboy. Sometimes he'll talk to detectives, but not me. Most of the time, they always talk to me, though, no matter what the scenario.
Do they need to agree for appearance releases?
No, because they got caught in the commission of a crime.
Oh, that's nice.
And there is no reasonable expectation for privacy.
Yeah.
And it's a news gathering operation.
Right.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So we don't, and that's a good question, because on a lot of shows you have to get consent and a form signed to do it, and we don't.
Did you ever have to retake you coming out and say, do you know I brought you in, like, you know what I mean? Did you ever mess up?
Let me hit that have a seat one more time. I didn't quite get it. No, but I'll tell you a funny story. On the very first,
I'm so sorry. Excuse me, one more time.
Yeah.
I'm trying to say.
I've gotten pretty good at it.
Can we get the decoy on set, please?
Well, here's what happened. So in the very first investigation, first guy comes in, it all goes well. I mean, as well as it could possibly go. Second guy, the same. Third guy comes in. Now, by now, there's so much activity that the transcripts are all mixed up and out of order. So I go, I did. I come out there. I said, it says here that you want to do this, that, and the other thing to an 11-year-old girl named Sally. No, it's not me. Excuse me. I said
I wanted to titty fuck her, and she was a trans woman.
It was the third try before I had the right transcript for the right guy. And I said, well, it's a 14-year-old girl named Beth. He goes, yeah, that's me. Okay, let's continue. And
he was just one of the spotlight.
Yeah. And when I wrote a book on the whole thing, I don't know, several years ago, and they edited for NBC. They edited those three things together for the special on the book, and it was just hysterical to watch.
Oh my God!
Do you ever, like Joey said, obviously there's safety measures in place, but has there ever been a moment where you have been genuinely like, this guy might jump over because there's always a kitchen counter between you, and there's always people around the corner. But has there ever been like, this guy might take my head off?
Yeah. We've had a couple situations where a guy was, super jacked, and we had one actually in Alabama. The guy comes in, He says he's a
That's the hot
private
spot,
investigator. Yeah, well, it's all over. We do Florida, we do Michigan, we do
All the
West
classics.
Coast, East Coast, North, South. But he comes in and he's got the sleeveless shirt on, and he's been to the gym, man.
Oh my God.
And so he comes in, the onside decoy says, "Hey, how you doing?" And they have a chat, and she goes, "I'm going to go do something, and I'll be right back." And he brings this, bottle of alcohol with him. And so he's in the refrigerator and the freezer getting ice cubes. And so while he's facing the freezer, she leaves and I scoot in. So he turns around and he's so startled that, the ice goes flying everywhere. We have this little dance, where I'm unprotected and law enforcement is like, "Okay, do we go?" And I'm looking at him and I get him into the chair and,
Are they in the house? Sorry, I cut you off. Are the cops like physically in the other room?
Yes.
Okay, so if something happens, they can jump out and save
in
you.
seconds. Right.
Okay, good.
Right.
So you guys are going around. You get him into the chair.
Yeah. So he sits down and he's still agitated. He's angry and he's done his reconnaissance. I mean, he's researched the house. He's gone online. He sees that it's owned by somebody who was outdated information. He has compared the picture of the onside decoy and done a computer search and a face search. He's done
like
all
reverse
this stuff.
image
Now,
search,
none
all
of
that,
his intel is right, but he has really gone the extra mile
To cross his
try
T
to
and dot
figure
his
out.
I's.
And now he's going to argue that based upon his research, the woman in the picture was actually 23 or 24. I said, well, that's not how this works. And
Unbelievable.
so pack him up.
It's crazy that you're able to what's the setup time like on that? So if someone comes in and obviously you have to rent the house, I would assume far enough ahead of time so that it doesn't set off any
So we
alarms
get the house
Yep.
and usually it's procured through law enforcement. So we can't just go out and rent an Airbnb and say we're on vacation and do a predator sting. That would be unfair to the owners of the Airbnb. And
It's in the reviews.
They get a low rating.
Can you imagine?
We love the
loved it.
outdoor pool. We
Caught
love the
6
sting
predators.
operation.
Yeah.
The kitchen was
Unfortunately,
fabulous.
Chris
Put some
Hansen
pictures
rented
up.
the house
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
had to-
5 stars.
yeah.
So we usually work through law enforcement in whatever jurisdiction we're in to secure the house. So we don't have that issue,
That's so crazy. I'm just thinking, and how did you come up with, when the show first started, you're like, all right, this is what I'm going to say when the guy walks in? Because your catchphrase now is kind of, have a seat.
Right.
Because you don't even have to introduce yourself anymore. Were there other lines that you were like, sit down, sicko,
It's
or
sort of-
whatever, or whatever it is?
It's sort of developed organically based upon what was in the transcript of the chat. And so I go through it the best I can and sort of think, okay, I don't want each one of these confrontations to look the same. But some of it, have a seat was really to get control of the situation.
Yeah.
And to make sure he was in camera frame. We had a guy show up in Ohio once, and he was a dwarf, a small person. And so he walks in. It was a bad guy. He was in on a Saturday or Sunday night, and he was to be sentenced in a case for molesting a relative on Monday. I mean, a horrible guy. And so he comes in, and he's standing there. I said, "Have a seat." He says, "No, I'm good right here." I said, "No, I need," and I'm thinking, I need you to get in the chair because you're out of camera frame. We can't see him.
You punt him across
So
the
he
room like
pops
Dr.
up there, and,
Yeah.
and he's in the camera shot.
Let me pull up a booster seat for your son.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you think about these TikTok evangelists? Are they
The online vigilantes,
Vigilantes
pedophile hunters
that are going and screaming, "This kid's here, man's here to meet a 13-year-old girl," chasing them through the stores and apprehending them in public without any really no criminal things after it? How do you feel about
It makes me uncomfortable. Look, I
Me
think
too.
there's a place in our world for citizen journalists. And I think social media platforms like YouTube and others have given people a voice. And I think crimes have been solved through crowdsourcing on these various platforms, in podcasts, etc. But it makes me nervous, and it makes law enforcement nervous, and it makes prosecutors around the country uncomfortable when a vigilante goes out there and pretends to be something they're not, which is to have some authority. And some good cases are found. Some bad people are exposed, but they can't be prosecuted most of the time because
It's
of the
just-
way
it's
that this comes up.
erratic and unorganized?
It's
and there's
erratic and unorganized. And there's one fellow out there who does this, and he says, "I'm with the Predator Patrol Network." Well, you might as well be with the Paw Patrol.
they have-
it doesn't
exactly.
matter.
They have these badges.
Because then he calls 911 and says, we've got a situation. So how long until he drags an unsuspecting police officer or sheriff's deputy into a volatile situation, and it explodes into it's
and the cop gets there and has no idea what the background is, who's
in the chat, who's doing what. So either the police aren't going to show up, or they're going to walk into something where they could be.
And there's
trouble.
something off about someone too that like.
It's
I don't want. You don't want to blame. Like if you're
Well,
posing as a child,
I get in
there's
trouble.
some sick like.
I will get
something.
hate for saying all this, and I
Yeah.
understand it, but it's the truth, because there are followers of some of these vigilantes who like their work and they think I should collaborate with them, and it's just never going to happen
Yeah.
under any circumstances because of the way they operate.
It's so bizarre. Who chooses the snacks on set? Because there's always Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Yeah, we got a
There's
letter
always
from their
fruit
lawyers
roll-ups.
years ago asking us not to use Mike's Hard Lemonade anymore. So
Really?
we don't use it, yeah. But it's a combination of things. I mean, some deputies like to use certain things in certain areas, and it's just kind of a signature of that particular investigation. We have, snacks around.
Yeah.
And sometimes it happens so quickly it doesn't
Crafty,
matter.
whatever you can
Yeah,
pull.
yeah.
Whatever you
Craft
can pull
services,
over.
yeah, craft services,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you ever get like a lot of people wake up, they don't want to go to work.
Yeah.
I'm sick of this. Are you ever like, God damn it, I have to go catch another fucking pedophile today?
No,
like I'm
no,
sick of doing this.
It's look, we get to do a lot of different stories, right? And so I'll be on a plane tomorrow going to the West Coast on a whole different thing that's very important and very, very, very exciting. But I think it's a problem that's not going away.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And no matter what law enforcement does, it seems to continue.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, the best way to combat this is the relationship between the parent and child. And so as long as we continue to raise awareness and create this dialogue, I think it gives the parent-child relationship a better chance to have this discussion, because a parent could say, well, look at the show, right?
Yeah.
We continue to expose these guys. I think it's some deterrence.
Yeah.
We do see in the chats, tell Chris Hansen I said hello, tell Sheriff Chris Swanson or Sheriff Grady Judd say hello. And we were doing one in Polk County, Florida, Sheriff Grady Judd. And it happens in Michigan with Sheriff Chris Swanson and
you
all
know
over
all
the place.
the you know all the
Well, I do,
sheriffs.
because I've been doing this for 42 years. So I have, a lot of these sheriffs were lieutenants back when I worked in their jurisdiction. So we have these long-term trusting relationships.
Right.
But they'll say, tell them I said hi. But they'll still show up. So
Yeah.
we had a guy in Florida who said, is this a Chris Hansen, Sheriff Grady Judd thing? Who are those people? Says the decoy.
You go, no.
Oh, well, they do stories together, and here he comes. After having a conversation with someone he thought was a teenage girl's mother, foster mother, selling the girl for sex.
Oh,
Do they
my
have
gosh.
any rights when they say, like, when you have to, when you're buying drugs from a cop or the car, and you go up to the car and say, and they ask you, say, are you a cop? And if they say they have to tell you,
Oh, yeah, is
like, if they
entra-
say, are you, is this
They don't
entrapment
have to.
an
They don't
issue?
have to. Entrapment's not an issue because we're not
Okay.
law enforcement. It is for law enforcement, but that's a fallacy. A lot of these people think that, are you with law enforcement or affiliated in any way with law enforcement? No, why? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's an undercover sting. They can lie to you and say, no, it doesn't matter. And it's good that guys think that, because they continue to fall in the trap, I suppose.
Yeah.
But, I don't know where that started, but the first time I heard it was as a young reporter in Detroit. We were undercover with the Detroit Police Narcotics Squad, and these guys are saying, "Are you cops? Are you this?" And because
No,
they
take your
truly
dick out, buddy.
believe, they truly believe,
We're not cops.
they truly believe that if they didn't say, they had to
That they were
they had
safe.
to drop the case. But that's not true.
What is the prosecution or sentence like for a guy? I mean, again, it's not a real person, thank God, that they are abusing, but the intent was there. Like, what is it? What is it like? What kind of sentence are these guys
It
getting?
could be,
for these
anything
things?
from probation and registration as a sex offender on the low end to, and I've seen guys with a criminal history get 10, 20 years in prison.
because
Oh.
they're repeat offenders.
10, 20
Right.
years.
But for a first-time offender, a lot of times you'll see a plea bargain, right? Prosecutors' offices are very busy. They're dealing with a lot of different crimes. And if a guy is willing to be a registered sex offender, get treatment, if he doesn't have a criminal history, probation and monitoring and registering probably represents justice in that case. Now, you got a guy who's done this before. You got a guy who's got child porn on his computer. You got a guy who, you've caught in a different sting. They got to go away.
Right. Do you guys offer any after thing counseling for these people?
That's a great question. We do not, but you have to think, with a worldview on this, and maybe that's something we should consider. I think the criminal justice system demands that in many cases, and can point these guys in a direction to get it. I don't know that it's our responsibility to provide it, but I do believe in following up with these guys. And when we do the podcast, Predators I've Caught, I reach out to each one of these guys.
Where are they now?
You just reached out to one, right?
Yeah.
I haven't touched a child in 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As he's taking his diaper off.
Yeah.
6
Well,
months
we
clean.
we had a 61-year-old doctor who was chatting with a teenager online while at his practice, family practice, sees
that
18
is
passengers,
creepy.
18 patients, and all the time he's chatting, sends a picture of his privates, and then shows up in his Range Rover, well-dressed, to have sex with a teenage girl. Now, it was a crazy scene. We have that episode on True Blue. And afterwards,
Can you send me that pic?
exactly.
That's my bitch doctor.
It's
We
me-
just got
it's-
a cross-reference.
Yeah. But he, after his sentencing to probation and all the other conditions, he sat down with me to do an interview to explain why he got so caught up in the pornography and so obsessed with the sex. And in his mind, or he claims, it wasn't so much the fact that she was underage, it was just anybody who he could have found that day, he would have had sex with.
Has there ever been a time where it actually has been a misunderstanding, or someone's come in and you've been
like the pizza guy hits the wrong door. Yeah. I can't remember one. I'm sure that there are times when a guy says it's my first time, and it is, because everybody starts somewhere. But I think more often than not, they've been down the road before.
God, it's so crazy that, how long the show has been on, and how you said there's no shortage of these people.
I honestly thought we'd do it 2 or 3 times, and that'd be it. Nobody would show up. I'd be like the Maytag repairman, taking a nap on the counter. But that's not the case.
What do you have kids, right?
Yes.
You have 2 kids.
I have,
What do they think about that? When you go visit your kids, are they like, oh, your dad's Chris Hansen? Are your kids?
Well, my kids
into
are
the career
grown now,
Yeah.
right? So they're in this business. One
Yeah.
is behind the camera, one's in front of the camera.
Oh.
And but when they were in high school,
the family practice.
yeah, it's a family practice, exactly.
Trigger warning.
Exactly. When they were in high school, it was no big deal that your dad was on TV, because they went to school with kids whose dads were, banking magnates.
Where'd
and
you
Wall
raise
Street
your
guys.
children? And
In
where'd you grow up?
Connecticut, in
Oh,
Fairfield
Connecticut.
County, Connecticut.
Okay.
Oh, very
Yeah.
nice.
And so, sports figures, all that. So it wasn't a big deal to have a dad on TV. But when South Park did a Chris Hansen To Catch a Predator episode, suddenly I was the coolest dad out there.
Yeah.
Suddenly I had street credibility.
Yeah, South Park is
That's like the barometer of cultural
you're
relevance.
culturally hip at that point.
That's so crazy.
And they
I wanna
don't
see
tell
what he
you.
looks like on South Park. We can find a photo.
It's pretty good.
We can
They
find a
don't
photo.
tell you they're going to do you, right? So if Simpsons does you, they call up and they say, "Hey, will you do the voice for us?" And you go in the studio, and it's fun. But South Park, they just do it.
You've been on Simpsons, right?
Yeah.
A bunch, yeah.
Yeah.
We have a show
Family
here
Guy.
called Out of Order, which is like our own in-house sketch thing.
Oh, cool.
And this guy Owen, who produces it, before was sitting over with us, and he's like, "You have to show him the sketch. I have to meet him," because I think they did some sort of parody about you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I said when you walked in, American legend. Were you a journalist prior to this?
Oh, yeah. No, I've been a reporter for years. I mean, the Predator stories are maybe 10% of my portfolio.
Yeah.
I mean, 10 Emmys, they're all for different things.
Right.
So I came through local news, Lansing, Michigan, Tampa, Florida, Detroit for 10 years, NBC. I
did
started in
Dateline for-
1993. We
That's
had
right.
the first show is now anchored by Tom Brokaw and Katie Couric. You guys weren't even around when I was
know Katie.
doing
I
this stuff.
remember, yeah.
So it was.
I remember Joan London. Remember Joan London?
Yeah, I do. She was all that stuff was there. I mean, I remember doing a story on the Poly Class kidnapping, which recently was in the news because the guy convicted was trying to get out from under the death penalty, but got to be close with her father in the course of reporting the story. And I can remember him after being on my story for Now on NBC. he was on the Phil Donahue show. And so, getting in the elevator, going down to see him as he came out of the Phil Donahue show. That's how long I've been doing this.
Oh, my Lord.
That's so crazy. Do you ever, what was I going to say? How long do you see this going on? Like,
well, I don't see it ending. I mean, I think it'll
in
develop.
terms of you doing the show.
In terms of me, I don't have any plans of retiring. I mean, as I said, I've been doing this 42 years, and I'm in the best situation ever for me. Okay, so we have this network. We own the content. We own the distribution of the content. We produce content for other platforms, and it's ideal. I mean, it's the best case scenario for a guy who's been doing this as long as I have been, because we have control of it. So we have a fast channel on Roku, and we're on all these monitors now. Every monitor that comes out, there's a True Blue app on it.
I'm going to download it today.
What's a fast channel?
Fast channel is something that we program for like Roku. So if you go to Roku 529, I think it is, there's a True Blue channel. So we program 12 hours a day on all these different platforms, and people can watch
TLC
it for free.
Plus, Plex,
exactly, all that. And so that's all out there. So people can watch it for free with ads, and that's doing very well. Or they can subscribe to True Blue and get that and all the other content and documentaries that we have on there, and watch it just like they watch Netflix. And then we produce this other content for anybody else. I'm doing news stories that, might air on Fox one night, Fox News with, Jesse Waters or something. And then we continue to report it, and it turns into a documentary that may air on another network. And then it's a series on True Blue. So we're getting a lot of use out of these very compelling stories. And it's great to be, what I think at least is the cutting edge of the way we do things, which has changed. I mean, I started with 3/4-inch tapes that were that big.
Yeah.
What's the craziest, I know it's like a broad question, you've done so many of these, what's the craziest excuse you've ever gotten from a guy when he's walked in there and gotten caught? The one thing where you've been like, buddy, what are you talking about?
Well, I mean,
you've done
had a guy,
thousands of these, so I'm sure there's a lot. But
we had a guy who told us that he couldn't possibly perform a sex act because he had shot himself in the penis while cleaning his gun.
Oh.
Was it true?
He offered to show me, and I declined the offer.
And that was Vinny.
Vinny offered to show me earlier as well. Oh my God.
So that pretty much, but we've had guys walking naked. We've had guys, be caught the next day or the next, a couple months later in a subsequent investigation.
Right.
I mean, we've seen all kinds of crazy things. We have guys routinely who chat in a previous sting operation but don't show up, and then like 2 or 3 investigations later they start to get confident and they show up. It's
with the same person? Is it the same lead that they're connecting with?
Sometimes that, and sometimes with another child. We have guys, we have multiple decoys, so we'll see somebody chatting with one decoy and chatting with another at the same time, and testing it, probing, poking to see if it's law enforcement.
I don't think I would have
Well,
the
probing
patience.
and poking is what we're trying to avoid here.
Yeah, exactly. In this scenario,
Essentially.
Well, Chris, thank you so much for coming
Well, thanks
on.
for having me again, guys. I appreciate it.
Of course, and continue doing the Lord's work. You really are saving lives out there, and the stories of people coming to you and thanking you after. I think
it's so
makes
gratifying.
It all worth it
and
for
look,
you.
I think if we continue to raise awareness and create a dialogue, and whether it's on this or like sextortion, these guys from a half a world away who are tricking kids into sending, explicit pictures. Some of these kids are committing suicide because of the embarrassment.
Yeah.
And we need to stop that. And if they can think about this for a second outside their immediate, social media world, and if parents can grab their attention and say, look, everybody makes mistakes. They're just magnified because of the internet. So come to me, we'll figure this out. But it is, no matter what we do as journalists, no matter what law enforcement does, it comes down to the best defense being the relationship and discussion that parents have with their children. And that's it. And I'm convinced of that, and I preach it, and I always will. And
Amen. Is there a website or somewhere you refer to people if they are experiencing any of this that you
I
normally
think they
do?
can go to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children is a great resource, NCMEC, and
nowshewilltour.com as well.
Is what?
That's our tour website.
That's our tour website.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah.
You're
We'll
cool
do that
being
as
on the
well.
poster for that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for all you do.
Well,
and
thank
thank you for
you
being
again.
here. What an
Thanks,
honor.
guys. It was a
Again,
pleasure.
American treasure.
Wait, everyone check out Takedown with Chris Hansen, available on True Blue.
Yes.
And then that's on all the fast channels on Roku.
Watch trueblue.com.
TOC+.
You can check it out. TRUBLU. Podcast Predators I've Caught, where we go back in the cases and see where are they today.
And button yourselves up, pervs. Stop preying on people. Oh, no, actually don't, because then you won't have a job.
I got plenty of other stories to do. I'll be just fine with that.
All right, thank you, Chris.
Thanks,
Chris.